Good afternoon, I am Precious Mzea Sakaleji. Welcome to Camnet TV Media News. The headlines. Various political parties express confidence of scooping the KABWATA by-election. Government denies allowing any mining activities in Lower Zambezi. Join me with the details after this commercial.
Team, the trajectory of the business looks very positive, and it looks like we'll be able to launch the ministry.
It has so much data.
Mom?
Yes, baby?
It says here, global warming and climate change is caused by the pollution from careless activities of human beings.
Wow!
Son, do you know I can turn my phone into a TV remote?
How's that possible?
It's so easy. Check this out.
Be smart, be fast with mega data from Zamtel. Get your 15 GB mobile data for only 100 kwacha, 30 GB mobile data for only 200 kwacha, and your 70 GB LTE data bundle with free Netflix, YouTube, Facebook, and WhatsApp. Visit our Facebook page, website, or service centers countrywide for more information. Zamtel, your digital lifestyle partner.
In other media news in detail, Chiniko Watu councillor in Kanyama constituency, David Ngoma, says the council has set up a system in which Zambian citizens will be given first priority in the allocation of market spaces across the country. Speaking during an inspection of makeshift stand at Lusaka's Comesa Market, along with other councillors from the same area, Tuesday afternoon, Mr. Ngoma has advised all market traders to ensure that they apply for market space at new and existing markets to avoid being displaced. He notes that the council will soon undertake a demolition exercise of illegal structures across the central business district, hence the need for traders to apply for trading spaces to avoid being inconvenienced.
Remove them from the encroachment. And as a committee, we have made a decision. There's a system that we are using. At this moment, I will not preempt it, but there's a system. We have immigration here, we have the Department of Citizenship. What we want to do is that is one NRC, a person attached to a shop. That's the system that we are using. We don't want to celebrate 10 other Zambians. There are a lot of people who have applied. These ones, we have given them special consideration. And that is a decision of the committee, and we are mandated to make that decision. Of course, we have worked with the mother ministry to deal with this issue. And we've been on the ground, and what we have picked is what we'll decide, based on the information on the ground. So I think we are going to advance in that direction. Thank you.
Political parties contesting the KABWATA by-election have all expressed confidence of emerging victorious on the 3rd of February 2022. Patriotic Front Acting Vice President Given Levinda says his party candidate Clement Tembo will win the elections unless his results are manipulated. And Economic and Equity Party leader Chifya Tayali says the people of KABWATA have already chosen him to represent them in Parliament. Meanwhile, United Party for National Development leader Hakainde Hichilema, who is also the Republican president, is confident that his party candidate Andrew Tayengwa will win the by-elections.
Political parties in Zambia contesting the KABWATA by-elections have intensified their campaigns, with all 9 candidates expressing confidence of emerging victorious. Among political parties contesting the seat, which fell vacant following the demise of the United Party for National Development Member of Parliament Levi Mkandawire, is the UPND itself, Democratic Party, People's Alliance for Change PAC, Economic and Equity Party EEP, Patriotic Front PF, Socialist Party, New Heritage Party, United National Independent Party UNIP, and the Patriots for Economic Progress PEP. Meanwhile, Economic and Equity Party leader Chilufya Tayali says he is confident of taking the day because the people of KABWATA want a voice like his to represent them in Parliament.
The KABWATA people have decided, and I know they will vote for me based on the fact that they want a voice. They want a voice in Parliament. This is what the people of KABWATA want. They want somebody with a different mind somebody who can offer checks and balances reasonably and objectively, somebody who can stand up and speak for the people of KABWATA.
The Patriotic Front candidate Clement Tembo, who spoke through the party's acting president Given Lubinda, says he is confident that he will win the elections unless his votes are stolen. Mr. Lubinda is also happy that the campaign have been peaceful so far and is hopeful that the same will continue on the day of the actual by-elections.
Very confident that we're winning this seat. The only thing that can make us lose this seat is if our vote is stolen. That is the only reason why we would lose this seat. So I'd like to appeal to all political parties, please, let's conduct our elections in an orderly manner. Let's not chase away other parties' polling agents. Let's make sure that everyone has a right to vote and the vote is protected by the state police. We must not bring in cadres to come and cause confusion.
Mwamone litwawika pressure nga ba PF babwesha kwa mafuta wan kwacha. Ngatamuba salile. Ngatamuba votele bakeshiboko bati abantu n'abafulwa bakabwesha Petro kuchilapa nombanga mwabasala nga mwasala wa UPND bakeshiboko kutila fyonse voture chitafilife wino.
Meanwhile, New Heritage Party leader Tishala Kateka, who escorted his candidate to campaign in KABWATA, is confident that his candidate will scope the seat. And the UPND president, Hakainde Hichilema, who is also the Republican president, has continued to drum up support for the party's candidate Andrew Teyengwa, who he says will serve the people of KABWATA wholeheartedly if given the chance. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
The Lusaka Water Supply and Sanitation Company has disclosed that boreholes in Lusaka are likely to be closed due to continued flooding. The water utility company's sanitation project manager, Kenneth Muyembelo, confirmed the development, clarifying that the targeted places are densely populated whose water sources are exposed to underground water contamination. Meanwhile, in a snap check by Camnet News, residents of Chawama compound of Chawama constituency have expressed concern that water has continued to be a major problem, hence residents survive on private-owned boreholes for consumption. They have since challenged the water utility company to ensure a stable water supply if boreholes are to be closed.
Over the past few days, Tropical Storm Anna has affected hundreds of thousands of people across southern Africa, and Zambia has not been spared. It comes on the back of unprecedented rainfall and flooding in most parts of Lusaka, especially those in peri-urban areas. It goes without saying that these floods have affected densely populated areas where drainage systems are a challenge, a case which is likely to contaminate underground water in most peri-urban settlements. This general observation has led the Lusaka Water Supply and Sanitation Company to warn that most boreholes in Lusaka are likely to be closed due to continued flooding. Company sanitation project manager Kennedy Mayombelo has confirmed the development in an exclusive interview with Camnet TV News.
Specific areas that we are targeting is Kanyama, for instance, Chawama, George compound. These are some of the densely populated areas of Lusaka that we are trying to target, and again the reason is to ensure that we ensure that people consume water that is safe and avoid the outbreak of waterborne diseases. We know that when cholera breaks out in Chawama, for instance, it knows no boundaries. Lusaka that have their own private boreholes, not the boreholes run by Lusaka Water and Storage, but boreholes at their households. We know that most of these areas are densely populated. So the borehole basically is in an area where it starts interacting with some of the pit latrines that are not properly constructed in these areas.
However, this caution has been received with mixed feelings by one of Lusaka's compound, Chawama of Chawama constituency, who cited erratic water supply as the main reason we opt using private-owned water boreholes.
Mungakambe kuti angankale maiti zamba kuyatapa kuti kansinisha kumapompi asazienda manzi kaiti pulumukira kumabomu mwaona ndiye manzi anti kumwa monga mapompi monga ati yakanso manzi kumonga kuno kulibe aniona ndaba kuno konse titapa kumabo
awo yambo bakakwanisa kuvala nishinaya noti yavaliwe pauti savutike manzi yasazienda ndena ife tsaifaka ko nzelu yakutiti yambofaka ko klorini kuti tisazidwala vili vonse
awo evi mandi mula mne ya manzi sautabe ko mulongo ndiye tisunga ndakubeve vinga chitike mwandi ndakudiaka manzi timadiakamo tishtabwa mulungu chende na tisunga otherwise semetina dwala kudala.
Regarding the settlement patterns, where even the toilets are just few meters away from the tanks and other water sources, but even so, one of the bore owners is sure that the water supply is clean and that it is treated and safe for consumption.
Yo twaimba fwebene, so nabantu abengi besa mukuta papa no pene abo twafuilisha ngachakuti wa council amanshi yabo yaya ero bena besa mukuta papano emkwai kule kokubomfya boye Yesu mulandu wakuti yali sana panshi tayabanga ile bembati 50 meters awe ifo twaimbishe 100 meters so amenshi Yesu yali bafye bwino sana fi ero tulakitana treat tulabika mo chlorine.
As the water utility company calls for closure of some bores, citing some health issues surrounding the matter, residents also demand the alternative water supply if that is to be the case. Alex Shimba, Camnet News, in Lusaka.
In other news, government has distanced itself from allowing mining activities to take place in the Lower Zambezi National Park. Minister of Green Economy and Environment, Collins Nzovu, has clarified that no new decision has been made by the United Party for National Development Administration, but that the decision to allow mining to take place was made by the previous Patriotic Front administration. The minister says his government is still committed to ensuring that all commitments made, including greening the economy, are adhered to. He, however, says this will be done in a legal manner and that his government will not interfere with any institution of governance. Mr. Nzovu has since assured that government will ensure that it exhausts all proper channels to secure a resolution in line with its commitment to the sustainable management of Zambia's resources. Recent happenings on the Zambian political scene, where individuals have taken to various media platforms to assure degrading statements on the head of state and other former leaders in the country, have irked Healing Word Ministries Pastor Pastor Moses Chiluba. Speaking during the Sunday service, Pastor Chiluba says citizens, especially those in leadership positions, should desist from using vulgar language and instead offer sound advice to those they perceived to be in the wrong. A number of such happenings have been recorded recently, where politicians have been warned and cautioned against defamation of the head of state.
The declaration of Zambia as a Christian nation in 1991 set the country apart as one of the few Christian nations in the world. Data from the Zambia Statistics Agency ZAMSTATS estimates that 95.5% of Zambian citizens are Christians, a population which is broken down into two groups, namely traditional churches and Protestants. With good moral values being one of the basic requirements in Christianity, expectations are that these values are observed in all areas of society, including on the political scene. This, however, is far from the truth, as the opposite has been happening. During the previous regime, various citizens took to social media to defame the then head of state, Mr. Edgar Lungu, most of whom were using fake social media accounts for the act. This, however, led to a number of arrests and charged with defamation of the president, contrary to Section 69, Cap 87 of the laws of Zambia. A high number of people who are taking to social media, issuing degrading statements, not only on political leaders but also on other citizens, raised concern, leading to the enactment of the Cybersecurity and Cybercrimes Act of 2021. This was in an effort to combat cybercrime and other security concerns. The trend of defaming the head of state has continued even in the new regime, which has recently seen a number of politicians warned and cautioned for the same. These happenings have displeased Healing Word Ministries International Church Pastor Moses Chiluba. He was speaking during the Sunday church service.
You start insulting the president of the day.
you are not a Christian, tell them that I said it. Because all leaders are there put by God. Let me give an example. President Chagwalungu is out of that place. He has nothing to do with leadership. Whatever mistakes he made out there, you as a child of God, you have no right to insult him. All you can do is pray for him.
Pastor Chiluba adds that despite of one's political affiliation, there is need to respect those in leadership positions.
Whether you are PF, a church now is there. PF is not there. It is UPND. So your assignment, Brother Musonda, is to pray for a church. Amen. Pray that it may be well with you. Amen. Leadership comes from God. Some of you that I'm speaking to here now, you'll be leaders in the future. But when you go as leaders and you are in politics and you are insulting, move away from this church. Because in the there's no way you will never find me insult anyone or demeaning anyone, because leadership comes from God.
He has further called on citizens to identify the leadership potential that lies in them and use it to the benefit of society. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
A pathologist from the University Teaching Hospital has told the Lusaka Magistrate Court that the late Monique Mutale, who is alleged to have died in the Catholic priest's house in 2020, died due to hypertension. Testifying before Coroner Judith Chiaika Tuesday morning, Dr. Luchenga Mchenganyanga said no toxic substances was found in the deceased body after he conducted a post-mortem. Late Monique Mutale allegedly died in May 2022 at the parish house in the priest's dormitory at Kaunda Square Parish Catholic Church.
A verdict starting on the death of 47-year-old Monica Mutale, whose body was allegedly found at a Catholic priest Father Abel Mwela's house, is expected to be delivered on the 28th of February 2022. Following the closing of the inquest by the state after all witnesses testified. Lusaka Magistrate Judith Chiaika, who was sitting as coroner Tuesday morning, heard that the deceased Monica Mutale died of hypertension. Dr. Mchelenganga from the University Teaching Hospital testified that he conducted a post-mortem on the deceased and discovered that she had a big uterus and fibroids. He also told Coroner Chiaika that the deceased had no evidence of injury on her body and no toxic substance was found in her blood after further examination. Meanwhile, Father Abel Mwelwa testified that he had earlier agreed with the deceased that they were going to link up for lunch, but they later cancelled and agreed to meet for dinner. Following her communication, her vehicle was in the garage and she could not make a move. He later testified that on the said date, in the evening, around 19:30 hours, he picked her up in Lusaka's West area and they went to his residence and she requested for tea. But after taking the said tea, she started sweating and requested that the priest open the door and windows so that she can have some fresh air. According to the witness testimony, Father Mwelwa, before court, he said this made him call his assistants and informed him that his guest was unwell and needed to be rushed to the hospital. But upon reaching Levi Mwanawasa Hospital, she was pronounced dead. Father Mwelwa also informed the coroner that he was currently on suspension following the inquest. The death of late Monica Mutale occurred in 2020 and made rounds on social media after it was allegedly reported that the deceased had died in the room of the priest. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Various political parties expressed confidence of scooping the KABWATA by-election. Government denies allowing any mining activities in Lower Zambezi. Thank you for watching. I am Precious Mzea Sakaleji. Good afternoon.